Okay, so let's dive into this source. Get this. An American Airlines flight, cruising over the Atlantic, almost at its destination,
Fine.
and it has to divert. Why? Not weather, not mechanicals. The plane was apparently too big for the airport.
Wow, okay. That's unusual. So this was AA-780, Philadelphia heading for Naples.
Exactly, Flight A780 Philly to Naples. And the aircraft was a Boeing 7879, the Dreamliner. Nice big plane.
Right, the Dash 9. And that's key, isn't it? Because the source points out the 787 Dash is, well, it's bigger than the 7878.
Yeah, about 20 feet longer, apparently. And that difference, it's not just size. It affects things like runway needs, maybe turning on the taxiway.
Precisely. Different performance, different ground handling requirements. Naples, it seems, has limitations, maybe runway length, maybe taxiway width. Who knows exactly? But the point is, it wasn't certified for this specific, larger 787 model.
And here's the kicker. According to the source, they didn't figure this out until the plane was something like 70 miles from landing in Naples.
70 miles.
They-
That's incredibly late in the game.
Right, hours into the flight.
So the big question the source raises is, how does that even happen? You've got flight planning, dispatch, air traffic control. Surely someone checks if the plane could actually land at the destination airport before it takes off.
You'd think so. It really points to maybe a gap in the process. Like the source suggests, maybe they just overlooked that specific airport certification check for the Nega 9 variant when scheduling.
A fundamental oversight, seems like.
Maybe.
Because the consequences were immediate. They couldn't land in Naples.
Nope. Had to divert. The source says they went all the way to Rome Fiumicino, which, okay, is a major airport, definitely equipped for a 7879.
Sure, Rome can handle it.
Yeah.
But think about the passengers. They signed up for Naples. Now they land in Rome, hours later than expected.
And the plan apparently was to bus them from Rome to Naples.
Yeah, imagine that after an 8 or 9 hour flight. Now you've got another, 2, maybe 3 hour bus ride ahead of you.
Oof, not exactly the arrival you planned. And the problems just cascaded from there, right?
Oh, absolutely. The source mentions the crew. Because of the diversion, the extra flight time, the waiting around in Rome.
They timed out, exceeded their legal working hours.
Exactly. Crew duty times are super strict for safety. So that crew couldn't just fly the plane back or onto its next leg.
Which means delays, cancellations for other flights.
Yep. Knock-on effects.
Right?
That plane and crew were likely scheduled for another flight, maybe back to the U.S. Now that's disrupted. The source even mentioned some passengers from the original flight just finding their own way from Rome trains, whatever.
What a mess. So the big takeaway from the source here is really about cost, isn't it?
For sure. This seemingly small oversight missing an airport certification check, it triggers this huge, expensive chain reaction.
Yeah, think about it. Extra fuel for the diversion, that's tens of thousands right there. Then the buses, hotels maybe, passenger compensation.
Handling the crew, timing out, repositioning aircraft and crews, dealing with the canceled next flight. The source used the phrase, cost millions, and you can see how it adds up fast.
Millions. For basically a paperwork or database error somewhere way back in the planning.
It wasn't a storm, it wasn't a broken part, it was a process failure, pure and simple.
Which brings us to the question the source kind of leaves hanging.
Right. Will American Airlines face any, fines or regulatory action over this? You have to assume authorities might look into how their system allowed this flight to depart for an uncertified airport.
Yeah, it seems plausible. It really makes you think, though.
About what?
Just the complexity. You know, we hop on a plane and we just assume everything works. The right plane, the right airport, the right crew hours, all the checks.
All these hidden logistics.
Yeah.
Thousands of details that have to line up perfectly for global travel to function smoothly.
Exactly. And this incident, this deep dive based on the source, it kind of pulls back the curtain, doesn't it? Shows you what happens when just one of those seemingly small details gets missed, even when you're practically already there.
Yeah. Makes you appreciate the system a bit more, maybe.
Mm-hmm.
But also wonder what other little things could go wrong.
Definitely something to ponder next time you're at the airport.